Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Cuphead and how I feel about it and is it worth the money? Okay, now you might be thinking, wow, Cuphead came out a long time ago. I think it was 2018. And the reason why I'm talking about it now is because I just finished playing it live, all of it live. And if you want to watch that, then click the eye in the top right corner. It contains a playlist with all the streams that I did on the game. And anyways, I just want to talk about it because, well, I finished the game and I thought I'd give my opinion out because this game is not talked about often, and I think more people need to hear about it. Anyways, let's just get started into this with gameplay. This is the most important aspect of any game, gameplay. And let's just say this. This is a pretty nice gameplay loop because it is basically fighting bosses constantly, which sounds like it would be annoying, and it can be, definitely, but it does mean that there's really no moments where you're just doing a bunch of nonsense, which can be a turn-off for some people. It's kind of like Terraria in the sense that there's a lot of bosses to fight, except that, unlike Terraria, there's no real gear to go for you. I mean, yeah, sometimes there's stuff to buy, but for the most part, you're just going to be fighting the same boss over and over until you beat it, which sounds boring, but it's actually fun because of the fact that the bosses are actually challenging. There's many bosses I can name that were really annoying and gave me a hard time, and there's always that feeling of just greatness and happiness when you beat a boss for the first time after spending hours, if not, well, in one case, 8 hours on a boss. I mean, it just feels great, right? And it adds to this feeling of, like, what makes the gameplay good, because at least for your first playthrough, you're overcoming something really difficult. It makes you feel good, which is a pretty good gameplay loop. One of the things that I will mention, though, is I do like how there are not just bosses, which there's the run and gun levels, which add variety. Those are also kind of challenging, in my opinion, at least. And they kind of have like mini bosses, some of them do at least. And I actually like these because they change up the pace of the game and they give you something else to do besides just bosses. So it's not just fighting bosses also all the time. And also this is how you get your coins, which I also like because this means that you basically end up having to do these to be able to get better stuff, which is pretty cool. Next up is the visuals. Now this is very important because a lot of people kind of forget about visuals. Visuals make and break games. Yes, they're not the most important, and I do believe that just because a game has bad graphics doesn't mean it's bad automatically. In a game like this, honestly, the visuals are great because they have a theme behind them, which is very important. And that theme is like an old Disney cartoon feeling theme, right? This is something you would see in an old Disney show or movie, right? Like from back in like really early on Disney, right? And you can kind of tell because it has the graining texture all over, you know, the entire screen, as well as the fact that everything just looks like a cartoon. It just does. All the bosses look like cartoons and something you would see in a cartoon. And even the actual main characters, Cuphead and Mugman, it's something you definitely could see out of a cartoon in early Disney cartoons. It just, I can picture it. Like, I literally thought when I first played this, it's gotta be something from Disney. It's so perfect. They nailed it. The bosses look crazy cool, and also like the way they like move when they're in pain and stuff. It's amazing. I love how it looks. It's phenomenal. But what really shines on top of that is the sound effects. Oh my god, are the sound effects great. Oh my god. The sound effects really help carry the game because not only is the music like very representative of older music, what you see in older, you know, films and stuff, which adds on to this like you're playing an older game. But also the sound effects of the bosses, and even when you start a boss, are just very, very good, and it really feels like it fits in that early cartoon vibe, right? Which in the end really makes you feel like you're actually playing in a Disney cartoon. I mean, that's just what I felt the entire game. I just gotta be honest. The art and the visuals are phenomenal. Okay, and then this is kind of where the game kind of lacks replayability. The replayability factor is there, don't get me wrong. Once you beat the game, you have a new challenge, which is basically, well, actually 2 challenges. You could get A+ on or S on all the bosses, which is very, very annoying. Basically meaning you have to do a bunch of challenges in each boss to get a perfect score. Or you could fight them all in expert mode, which is basically a new mode you unlock after defeating the devil. And while that is a replayable thing, because it means you have to replay every single boss in the game, it's not something that most people are going to do, because, well, it's very challenging. But it is something for replayability factor. But what also you have to factor in with replayability is, if I were to restart the game, if I were to play again, would it be fun? The answer is no, it wouldn't be the same at all. This is more of one of those games where it's a one playthrough and you're done kind of game, because you know the bosses, you know how to play the game, and that means that it's not going to be challenging anymore. I mean, sure, some bosses might really still be challenging, but for the most part, it's going to be a lot more easier, and it's going to get rid of that feeling of reward that you get from killing bosses. And also, because you know how they work, you know, that feeling of, oh, I just killed something that's super challenging the first time is gone. Which, yeah, so that is one of the lacking aspects. Another thing I also want to mention is the fact that you could play with your friends, but it's only local. Which is kind of annoying, because it basically means people need to connect to your Wi-Fi, which is very annoying, so you have to give out your IP address and all that. That's just inconvenient on so many levels, but I do like that they have that as a feature nonetheless. I think they just need to make it like Terraria, for example, where you can just host the game and then, you know, someone can join and then you can play together. That'd be pretty cool. But, I mean, overall, I think this game is worth the money. It's pretty enjoyable. For $20, this is a really feels like a really good game. The DLC is pretty good. I'm not really going to talk about it because, I mean, it basically has everything. Everything about this game that I just mentioned is basically applies to the DLC. So mainly, I would say if you really want to buy this game, you should go for it. If you've never played the game, I'd recommend buying it, because yes, it can be frustrating, but it also makes you feel very happy with yourself and proud when you actually finish the game. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and join Discord, link in the description below. And yeah, peace.